There are people in Europe who spend $3,000 on flights and 2 weeks of careful planning to see what an American can experience with a tank of gas, a cooler full of snacks, and a rough sense of direction. The American road trip is, without question, one of the greatest lifestyle value propositions anywhere in the world. And here's the financial case that makes it even more compelling. A well-planned American road trip is dramatically cheaper than most comparable travel experiences, and in many ways dramatically better. More personal, more surprising, more genuinely yours. Today, we're breaking down the best routes, the best budget strategies, the secret of free camping, and the experiences that will make your road trip the best money you spend all year. The classic, Route 66 from Chicago to Los Angeles, 2,448 miles of pure Americana. Historic diners with counter stools and pie under glass cases. Neon signs from the 1950s that still light up at dusk. Small towns that the interstate bypassed and time has half forgotten, but not fully. The Painted Desert in Arizona. Cadillac Ranch in Texas. An art installation that is genuinely one of the strangest and most joyful things in America. Route 66 is kitschy and magnificent and entirely worth doing at least once in your life. The scenic Pacific Coast Highway from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Roughly 400 miles along what many experienced travelers consider the most beautiful stretch of drivable road on Earth. Big Sur delivers on every photograph you've ever seen of it. The cliffs, the ocean, the redwoods, and then exceeds them. Elephant seal colonies at San Simeon. Hearst Castle perched above the Pacific. The charming coastal towns of Cambria and Morro Bay. Malibu as you approach LA from the north. This drive in late afternoon light, windows down, is as good as it gets. The Southern Music Trail. New Orleans to Nashville through Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. This is American music history as a road trip. You trace the lineage of jazz in New Orleans, blues in the Mississippi Delta, soul in Memphis, and country in Nashville. 4 genres that together essentially invented all of popular music as we know it. Stops at the birthplace of the blues in Clarksdale, Graceland in Memphis, the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville. 4 days, 1 route, the entire DNA of American culture. The desert Southwest, Las Vegas to Zion, to Bryce Canyon, to Arches to the Grand Canyon. This multi-park loop through Utah and Arizona is possibly the most visually spectacular road trip in the country. Each park is radically different from the last. The slot canyons of Zion, the red hoodoos of Bryce, the sandstone arches of Arches, the sheer incomprehensible scale of the Grand Canyon. Almost every major attraction on this route is covered by the $80 National Parks annual pass. Let's put actual numbers on a 7-day road trip for 2 people, done intelligently. Gas, at the 2025 national average of approximately $3.20 to $3.50 per gallon. A 2,000-mile trip in a vehicle getting 30 miles per gallon costs roughly $215 to $235 in fuel. A larger SUV averaging 22 miles per gallon runs $290 to $320. This is exceptional value for the distance and experience covered. Accommodation. This is where smart road trippers save the most money and have the best experiences. National Forest and Bureau of Land Management dispersed camping, which we'll get to in the next section, is free on millions of acres of public land. Established campgrounds with amenities run $25 to $55 per night. Budget motels in smaller markets, booked through Priceline Express deals or Hotwire's hot rate rooms, typically run $55 to $85 per night with real quality variants. For a mixed trip of 2 nights camping, 3 nights budget hotels, and 2 nights in a place worth splurging on, budget $300 to $450 for 7 nights. Food. Road trip food done well is half the joy and costs far less than people expect. Grocery runs for breakfast and lunch materials. Fruit, cheese, good bread, deli items, trail mix. One genuinely great local dinner per evening in the most interesting restaurant in whatever town you're in. Budget $50 to $65 per day for 2 people eating well. Total for 7 days, $350 to $455. Total trip cost for 2 people, 7 days done thoughtfully, approximately $870 to $1,200. That is a genuine adventure, covering hundreds of miles of extraordinary American landscape at a price point that almost any household can access. The experience per dollar ratio on a well-executed American road trip is among the best in leisure travel anywhere. The mistake almost every first-time road tripper makes, eating at chain restaurants because they're visible from the highway and familiar. The Denny's, the McDonald's, the subway visible from the interstate exit. Safe, predictable, and a genuine waste of one of road tripping's greatest gifts, the accidental discovery. The right move is using a combination of roadfood.com, a guide dedicated exclusively to regional American road food institutions, run by food writers who have driven every major American route, and Google Maps with the filter set to locally owned restaurants with 4.5 stars or higher, and Yelp filtered by independently owned spots. These tools surface the places that don't have a marketing budget, but do have 40 years of community trust built into their food. The green chili cheeseburger at a roadside spot in New Mexico that requires a small leap of faith to enter and delivers one of the most memorable meals you've ever had. The peach cobbler at a diner in a Georgia town of 3,000 people, where the menu has not changed in 30 years because it doesn't need to. The shrimp po' boy from a gas station in coastal Louisiana. Yes, gas station. That makes you understand why Louisianans are so emotionally attached to their food culture. A few apps that have genuinely transformed what's possible on an American road trip. Gas Buddy shows real-time gas prices at stations along your route and allows you to plan fill-ups strategically. On a long trip, this can save $30 to $60. Not life-changing, but satisfying. Road Trippers Plus at $30 per year does route planning that automatically surfaces interesting stops, roadside attractions, historic sites, and hidden gems along your specific path. It's worth a subscription many times over on a single trip. The National Parks app consolidates all 63 parks trail maps, facility information, visitor center hours, and, critically, timed entry reservation systems. Many high-traffic parks now require reservations for entry during peak hours. Check before you show up to Arches or Yosemite without one. iOverland or Gaia GPS for offline topographic maps in cell-dead zones of the West. Non-negotiable if you're going off paved roads. And Spotify's road trip playlist curation honestly deserves a mention. Not as a financial tool, but as a quality of life one. The right music on the right road at the right moment is one of those small, completely free joys that doesn't require justification. The American road trip is not nostalgia. It is not an anachronism. It is one of the finest leisure experiences available to anyone living in this country at a price point that makes international alternatives look genuinely inefficient by comparison. Plan one this year, not next year. This year, it doesn't have to be 2 weeks. A long weekend, a rough direction, and a willingness to see what's there. That's enough to start. Subscribe for more. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss them. And drop in the comments which route is on your list. We rate everyone.